My name is Steffan. I'm the head of Norwich School, and it is a great pleasure to welcome you to the Blake Studio for our open evening. We are thrilled and humbled that you are considering us as one of your options for your sixth form education. We know that there is a lot of opportunity and optionality out there, so we're very pleased that you are thinking of us. As an educator, I always think that being involved with young people at this formative time of your lives is a great privilege, and I know my colleagues feel the same. So we're really looking forward to having the chance this evening to show off what we do. But the main thing that needs to happen is for you as individuals, and I'm very much focusing on the young people in front of me, for you to focus on whether you think there's a fit between what you want to achieve in your sixth form years and what we're going to show you. So we're going to try and give you a sense of what being a sixth former at Norwich School would be like, and then it's for you to measure that against what you want to achieve and whether there is a match there. To do that, you're going to need to ask a lot of questions, and the bulk of your time will be spent on a tour with one of our sixth formers, looking at the subjects you're particularly interested in, the co-curricular activities that you're particularly interested in, so that you can go through that matching process. But hopefully before that, I and senior colleagues and some pupils will try and give you a flavour of what to expect, so that as you're listening, you can be thinking about the sorts of things you want to ask on the tour and the things you particularly want to check. So, what's on the tin? What can you expect from a Norwich School education? As head, I would talk about instilling a lifelong love of learning. That's what I would want for young people leaving Norwich School, helped by adults at school and at home to get you ready for the 21st century lives that you're going to lead. That's pretty easy to say, and I'm sure if you're going to more than one open evening during the course of this term, probably any of the principals or leaders would be saying something like that. So we need to drill into that a little bit further. What is it about a Norwich School sixth form education that might instill this lifelong love of learning more vividly, more powerfully than other places? I would put my answer into two categories: buildings and people. The first, buildings, you only have to look out of the windows of the Blake Studio to realise we're very fortunate in our location. To have an educational institution in a medieval cathedral close is a real joy. It's an iconic setting, it's one of the great buildings of Northern Europe, and we get to go in there 3 times a week, and we get to have a school based around this amazing collection of buildings. That's a real joy. The setting and its built beauty and its natural beauty enhances our learning and sets the scene for our educational work day by day, and that's a great joy. However, there is a danger with a site like this that it might become like a museum, and it might seem too traditional. And we work really hard to make sure that in this very special setting we have a 21st century school, and we have something that's innovative and constantly pushing on. That's something that's very important to us. So our tours this evening will end at our new building, 15 Upper King Street. We're looking forward to giving you the opportunity to see that. And you might want to talk to the pupils about the new timetable which has been brought in this year. So further evidence of our desire to innovate and our desire to be relevant now. So you might characterise that as trying to balance tradition and modernity. And that extends to the way that we go about our lives at Norwich School. We would say that our values are timeless. We talk about love, compassion and inclusion, and I hope you'll get a sense of that friendly, warm atmosphere as you talk to our pupils and meet our teachers this evening. But we balance that with a restless ambition for self-improvement. We want to be constantly thinking about ways that we can get better, and we try and keep those two ideas in balance all the time. So that's something about buildings and setting. The other way in which I think we set people up with this lifelong love of learning particularly well is in our people. And what I'm talking about there is the quality of our relationships. We set a lot of store by making sure that we have a positive community, we have good relations between pupils, we have good relations between pupils and teachers, and also that we put priority on the relationship between school and parents. We think that the three-legged relationship, if you like, between pupil, school and family is the key to make sure that we get the very best for our young people, and we seek to involve parents in the lives of our pupils as they go through the school. So the quality of relationships is really important to us. I'm going to hand over now to Mrs. Fairweather, who's our senior deputy and our safeguarding lead, just to unpack that idea a little bit further for you.
Good evening, everyone. It's lovely to see you. Thank you so much for coming to see us this evening. I thought it might be helpful just to give you a little bit of an outline of how we want to be able to look after every young person who comes to join our community as an individual. It's really, really important that young people feel able to come to school as themselves and to be able to seek their own interests and to pursue those within school. And in order to do that, they need to have lots of adults around who are going to be there to support. So although we are a big sixth form, there are lots and lots of pupils within our sixth form. We know you, or the idea is that we know you all as individuals and we seek to support you appropriately in that way. And that works in a number of different ways. First of all, every pupil is a member of a house. So some of those pupils will have been in that house for 5 years before they enter the sixth form years, but obviously we then have this increase of numbers, and we have lots of brilliant new young people joining the house in the lower sixth year. You join a tutor group, and you would remain with 2 tutors within that tutor group for 2 years, and you would also have a head of house who will get to know you really well and really explore with you the things that you're interested in. As well as that, we have a sixth form team who are outlined in your booklet. There's going to be lots of them around this evening, but they really seek to support you with your onward journey as well, which seems like a weird thing to be mentioning now when you're focusing on whether you want to join us in the sixth form. But really it's so important that from beyond here that you're able to go on to the next thing that you want to do, whatever that might be, and we have a real team of experts to support with that as well. And then beyond that as well, we also have some specialist members of staff who are specifically here to support your well-being. We have a head of welfare, we have health officers, we have an EDI officer, and we have a counselling service as well. So really we're there to support everybody in the broadest sense, but as individuals too. And then within that, we hope that in the sixth form as well, you're able to make the most of opportunities to develop as young leaders as well. You're going to see that this evening as you walk around the leadership roles that people can be part of, but applying to be a prefect, being part of our leadership structure is an exciting part of sixth form life as well. So really enjoy your evening, ask lots of questions. We're really, really excited to welcome you. Thank you.
So we've talked about lifelong love of learning, talked about buildings, talked about people. And just to put an extra bit onto something that Mrs. Fairweather said, we are a big sixth form, that's true. So there are about 170 in our sixth form years. We feel that's big enough to be buzzy, to have a really good atmosphere in our sixth form, so 350 sixth formers in school at any one time, but not so big that you can't be known, not so big that we can't go on that pastoral journey that Mrs. Fairweather has described. And so you might think about it as being big for an independent school, but relatively small for a state school. And we know that there are bigger sixth forms in the state system, and we're somewhere in between those two extremes, and we quite like that. We think that's a good balance to strike. So there's something on the headlines, but there's no doubt that in terms of match, in terms of fit, the people you really need to be talking to are the pupils. They're the people who know what it's really like to go on the sixth form journey at Norwich School that you are considering. And I talked at the start about the privilege of being involved with young people at this exciting point of their journey, and I hope you've got a sense with Hetty and Zach of just what I mean there. Zach is a rugby playing chef, and Hetty is, as you heard, she's an artist who does maths. She also plays netball brilliantly, and it's that variety of interest that really appeals to me to help them, and the hunger that our new sixth formers show. They come wanting things from us. And I think that's very precious, and hence my challenge to you as you go walking around, can you see what you would do when you are here? I think if you can see that, that's what's going to really drive that journey. So just to finish, and again to set up some of those questions that you might have as you go on your tours, we have 3 aims for our pupils. We talk about curiosity, whether that's practical, intellectual or creative. We want you to be interested in the world around you. We want you to be interested in things. We want you to be exploring what you're going to take on when you leave Norwich School. Not just what you're going to be at 18, but what you're going to be at 25 and beyond. That's the lifelong love of learning that we're talking about. There will be in front of me actors and musicians and sportswomen and scientists and linguists and artists, and we welcome that breadth. Each of you will want to fulfill your unique potential with us by exploring that breadth of opportunity. So again, as you're walking around, see whether you can imagine yourself in our Carter Design Centre or in number 68, which is where our politics, economics, business enterprise departments are. Be thinking about how this would work for you. And finally, to back up what Mrs. Fairweather said, we talk about exploring opportunities for leadership and service. They're two separate but related concepts. We want you to have experience of both while you're with us. In Upper King Street, you'll see presentations on independent project, on community service, so trying to broaden that experience and give yourselves a chance both to be a leader and to be someone who serves the wider community. We want you to have experience of both of those. So they're three aims that we have for our pupils as they're going about their experience at Norwich School. And so to finish, we live in a fast-moving, turbulent, challenging world. I have never been as convinced about the importance, the value of a holistic, values-based education, an education in a community that is loving, compassionate and inclusive, but also focuses on individual journeys so that we help you get where you want to go as an individual. And that's what I hope you can expect from a Norwich School sixth form experience. I hope that's what you can explore while you're with us this evening.